Welcome to Cinemophile, where we bring you the best in independent, documentary, and foreign films, and we talk to the people who made them. I'm your host, Mike Caspar, and you can find out more about the program by going to cinemophilepod.com. In the timeless allure of Rome, journalist Dylan and his companion photographer Lucy find themselves weaving through the historic streets on assignment. Their journalistic pursuit leads them to an enthralling interview with charismatic but flailing musician Milo. Charmed by their company, Milo extends an invitation for a weekend escape to his girlfriend Francesca's opulent palazzo nestled in the verdant Italian countryside. There's a lot going on in this wonderful narrative film called Electra. We're joined today by the director as well as one of the co-writers, Hala Matar. Hala, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Well, and thank you for being here. There was a word that kept coming to mind as I was watching this film. It kept coming back to it, and that is the word intriguing. I thought the character development was outstanding. I thought the plot, while we've seen some version of this, the sort of hidden agenda plot that goes along with the intrigue that comes with that kind of a film, but there was a lightness to the presentation of the filmmaking, a lightness in the setting, a lightness in their interactions with one another that gives the rest of the film a real kick. So you co-wrote this film with Daryl Wein and Paul Sado. But what was it in the story? What was it about this that you wanted to make this your film? What inspired it?
Well, I've always wanted to make a movie in Italy, and that's not the only reason why. I guess it just draws from a lot of inspiration, like from films that I've been inspired by. Yeah, it just because obviously doing your first, what like defining what your first feature is going to be. I didn't expect this to be my first feature. I had, other scripts that I wrote that I thought those would happen first. And then this kind of came like out of the blue, an accidental child. um, no, it really did because I was on vacation in Sicily with Daryl actually, and then someone offered me to shoot a film in her godmother's palazzo, but it was like more of a fashion film, just a short film.
Mhm.
And then that was sort of what got us thinking, like, oh, I think I told Daryl the idea. I didn't think I was going to make a feature. And then Daryl's like, you should just tell her that you're going to make a feature. And I did. And then she said yes. And then, at the end, and that's really what inspired us to write this movie.
So that led to the story that we see.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why at the end, I didn't end up shooting in that place. Everything falls through like a normal movie. But I guess we were very lucky and got, this other location that I love. And I'm so glad that we were able to shoot there. We also lived there with the actors. So yeah, it was a very unique experience.
Well, the actors, I definitely want to talk about the actors in the film, but I want to explore this a little bit more. So I don't want to give too much away in terms of the story
Yeah.
itself, but there is it fair to say there's the motivation is a revenge film?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what a good way to
Which
put
is kind of why I called it Electra,
it. Right.
because it has similar themes to the play, but it's a totally different story.
The tone of the film is what I was so intrigued by and the way it was shot, but the tone of it, I wouldn't say it runs counter to what this underlying story is, but it elevates the film in this interesting way. I just was so intrigued by the kind of film it was, put aside from the story that is developed throughout the film but it just had such a different kind of vibe to it than these films usually do. And is that a fair description of
No,
it?
you're totally right. 100%.
It really drew me in, not only to the characters, but just how was this going to play out? Yeah, I was trying to think of a film that it reminds me of, and I guess the closest I could come, I don't even think this is as good as it, you probably have better examples, but there's almost a Coen brothers vibe to the tonal difference between that and what the actual kind of dire consequences of the storyline are.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something that you understand. The Coens
No,
are,
I
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no. I think I didn't have that in mind, to be honest. I mean, I love them. I love their movies. Maybe subconsciously I was thinking of them, but they weren't, I wasn't like, that wasn't something that I think I ever even brought up like with my editor. But yeah, you're totally right. I think the tone and the way it ended up being with the mix of tones, I guess, is kind of, at one point it was a bit problematic, like for the producers, and everyone was trying to define it. They're like, oh, maybe you should have the music like be more foreboding, or just so many different things. And a lot of people, like, we obviously do test screenings at the beginning, early stages, when we still haven't really defined the language. Then I think a lot of people wanted it to lean more towards like a traditional thriller, but obviously that's not who I am, and that's not what I was trying to say. And then I think like the editor and I figured out more of like a uniform language where when it does dip into the comedy, we sort of, keep on bringing it back throughout, and like created, like the scenes with Francesca, and sort of created this rhythm throughout, so then it like feels more unified.
Well, and to that, yes, thank you. And thank you, bless you for not, sort of succumbing to the test screening people that you were dealing with. But there's also a very Italian cinema vibe to it as well. I mean, I know the setting is in Italy, and there's some music that would sort of lend itself to that. But there's this cavalier, devil may care kind of vibe to a lot of the characters in the film. So it's this. I'm so intrigued by it. I watched it a couple of times just to try to figure out what you did, like how this. So that's I think a testament to your filmmaking. I hope it is a testament to your filmmaking because yeah, I had to watch it again just to kind of make sure that how I felt the first time, and it was the second time. So, excellent. I just really was taken by it, and again, a lot of this is a testament to the actors that you have involved, who I thought were all just absolutely wonderful. Abigail Cowen, Maria Bakalova, as well as Jack Farthing and Daryl Wein. No, I just thought you did a wonderful job with the ensemble actors here.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about them and what you were hoping to get from their performances.
Yeah, so the film is about people pretending to be other people for different reasons, either because of insecurity or because they're trying to manipulate the other characters. So I think that was an underlying theme throughout. So a lot of times it within the scenes, I think with each scene it's different what their motivation is. So I guess just trying to figure out like who they're trying to be at that moment and what they want out of the other character.
I would say that sounds right. That feels right. And there is I wouldn't say they're all transactional characters, but there's certainly an
Yeah.
element of transactional interplay between them. They all want something, and that's
And
part of
also things change.
yeah.
Like for example, Abigail at one point, she started to like the characters and then she didn't want something from them. So like you go in thinking you want something and then later on you change your motivation.
She plays Lucy in the film, and then
Yeah.
her relationship with Dylan is completely transactional.
Yeah.
And there's not much of a backstory for any of the characters, except we know one of them is a music star, a rock star of some.
Well, also Francesca's a performance artist.
That's right. She's a performance artist, so that's right. They are quote unquote who they appear to be in the film,
Yeah.
but throughout the course of the film, there's certainly a transactional relationship between them that, as you said, shifts around depending on the circumstances. That it was just that part was very interesting. And I think we can say, hopefully, tell me that the intent of Dylan is, as we talked about, this revenge plot. And one of the things that pulled me into the film was the cinematography and the use of the images in the paintings that are in the chalet, I'll call it, in the place where they are. castle. It almost feels like it was a
A
castle.
lot so.
Palazzo. Thank you. That's the Italian, yes, the palazzo. And then and then there are again sort of lightening the mood. You also have these sort of breaks and there's sort of episodes within the
Yeah.
film. And all of it just keeps it really interesting. It kept me completely engaged as to what was next, what was coming around the corner. I really liked Milo, and I really like Francesca and Lucy as her character develops in the film. They all become very likable. Although I will say that Dylan's character kind of stays in the same sort. There's modality to where he is in the film that doesn't really shift a whole lot in the film. Yeah, am I again?
Yeah, I mean, it only shifts in terms of you start to discover more what his intention is. That's the only thing. I mean, I also don't want to spoil the ending,
No, we don't.
but it wasn't really intentional. From my perspective as a writer, like I didn't think he went in with that in mind.
Yeah, I agree. And it's kind of unclear what he was, other than there's a something in the palazzo that he thought if he could get it, it would exact the kind of revenge that he was looking for. So you were talking earlier about the reaction to the film. What now that it's out, what has kind of surprised you and or reinforced your commitment to the way that you told the story?
I'm so grateful because I've gotten really positive reactions from people and like even, I sat during two screenings and heard a lot of laughs and that is so gratifying. So it's just I think because we took a risk, as you know, like the tone shifts and it's definitely when I say we, I'm just thinking a lot of like the editing process, me and the editor, our last like months together. And we were trying out new things that I wouldn't say we've never seen before, but maybe in this type of movie. Yeah, I guess we just went for it. We just really enjoyed what we were doing and like trusted ourselves. And even though it was a risk and we're definitely not doing something traditional, I guess what I want to say is while we were playing with it, and playing with tone and trying out new things, we were enjoying that process so much. But also at the same time, trying to tell a story in the best possible way. And then it turns out that the audience enjoyed it too. And so I'm really glad because I think, I could have gone the tradition, like obviously you have so many different edits, right? And at the beginning it was more traditional. And I'm so glad that we just pushed the envelope and just went for it. We were just like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I did, and I don't know this. I want to be careful how I say this because it feels like this feels like a new take on this kind of film. It feels very modern. And I say that in the context of we watch so many movies now. We've seen so many movies that we kind of know how the plot's probably going to unfold. We kind of know a lot about maybe the characters and maybe their motivation. So we have an expectation. And I just think that it defies our expectations in a very interesting way. And I really appreciate it. That's why I kept coming back to it. It was just how effectively you did that, how effectively you defied our expectations or my expectations. But at the same time, there's enough. That's just a well-made film. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Aw.
It just sort of, I'm just a little bit confounded by it because it feels so different. I do want to talk about the cinematography because Michael Alden Lloyd did a fantastic job in the big spaces inside and outside. I
Yeah.
thought there's just so much about the way that this was shot and the lighting in it. I just really appreciate his work here.
Yeah, no, I'm so grateful that he was able to be part of the film. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think he did a fantastic job. We had it was quite a small budget and we shot this in 2 weeks. So we didn't have much time, much time. And also in Italy, it's 10-hour shoot days and there's a lunch break. So I guess I would say at most we had 5 takes.
Oh my.
if we were lucky, something, sometimes, even less. And so, in general, I'm not like the coverage person, but there were also different ways I wish I was able to shoot certain scenes. I was not able to because of the time limitations. However, I think that brought a beautiful, like, uniform feel to the visual language of the film. And yeah, I'm just so grateful. So I think at the end, it actually benefited the film. Yeah, no, I'm happy with how it turned out. But I
God.
think a lot of, but also I would say, I'm not saying Michael's not talented, 100% super talented, but also if you are shooting in Italy and you make a film look bad, like you're a disaster. But that would also be me. So so yeah, I mean also we were blessed by how beautiful the where we were shooting the palazzo was and all the like different ways we could frame, like the doorways, the windows. It was also the mirrors everywhere. It was just so stunning. So it really gave us a lot of opportunities to show things in a very unique way.
And our conversation is kind of bringing up some of the things that was noticing and felt strongly about. The imagery of the artwork in the palazzo, it just feeds in. There's just a beautifully sort of woven into the telling of the story, the different images that we see, and the object of their desire, if you will, in the paintings, the sculptures, all the different things. But that one particular thing that I won't mention was that it just worked really, really well. And again, I've been I talked about the actors. I was really taken by Jack Farthing's portrayal of Milo because he easily could have been kind of a caricature. And I really
Yeah.
thought he brought some depth, real depth to his character. And in many ways, he's, I won't call him the most important character, but in some ways he is for me.
Mhm.
He's the most important character to understand and eventually I came to really appreciate him, just his life and what he'd been through. So I thought he did a fantastic job.
I mean, I've been a fan of Jack for a very long time. And yeah, like I loved him in Spencer. I don't know if you saw that. He played Prince Charles and he was also in The Lost Daughter. But especially in Spencer, he really made a big impression on me, even though he didn't have that much screen time. But just the few times I saw him, I was absolutely mesmerized. And I knew, to be honest, at first there was another actor that was meant to play Milo, and then he had to drop out for various reasons. But so then when that role was available, I just knew. I was like, and when I found out Jack was available when I knew he was a possibility, because obviously we're considering a few people, I was like, no, it has to be Jack. I guess in general, I think whatever he touches, he'll bring a lot of depth to. And yeah, and he's also just a very committed actor. Yeah, because also that role could have been like, playing a famous rock star. I mean, it could be so cheesy and like it could have felt very artificial. So I'm so glad. I'm so great. And I also, because I did some music videos and stuff like that. So I've been around musicians a lot. But yeah, he felt so real to me.
There's a lot orbiting around him in terms of the characters and the interaction with them, and especially in his relationship with Dylan, and how even once he finds out something that would have been a deal breaker for most people, he's still you see the humanity come out in him, and
Yeah, I was just gonna say exactly. Exactly. That's what makes him so beautiful.
just a great performance. And everybody did a great job. I'm so happy to be able to talk to you about this film because I would have been completely obsessed if we had not been able to talk because I feel like I just really I think you can tell how much I like the film. So I'm so happy for you as a filmmaker and to be able to have this in your resume and moving forward. I certainly hope you're working on some new projects. I would imagine you are, and So, my congratulations on this film. Really, Electra, it's just a wonderful film. Just terrific.
Oh, thank you. It really means a lot. I'm so happy that you enjoyed it. Because we had all these constraints, I think it brought authenticity to it. And so I'm grateful for that because of course I wish I had more money and moving forward, obviously I do want more to have more and more time, but
Yeah.
I also wonder, I don't think I'll ever make something like this, and I'm glad I had that experience.
Well, I'm so happy we were able to talk about Electra. We've been talking with Hala Matar. She is the director, co-writer, producer, and what else? And did you?
That's it.
That's it? Oh, that's it. Okay. I certainly am looking forward to more work from you and look forward to hopefully somewhere down the line you won't be completely put off by this conversation and we maybe talk again. So thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I hope so too. Thank you so much.
You have been listening to Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar, the place where you will hear from the best in independent documentary and foreign filmmakers. Please check out our previous interviews as well as upcoming interviews and special programming by going to cinemaphilepod.com. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, searchable under Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar. Until next time, thank you for listening.